The fear of change does not arrive in silence. It shows up as a weight in the chest, a knot in the throat, the feeling that what you know is a cage, but at least it is a cage you know how to live in. That fear whispers, "Don't go through that door, because you don't know what lies behind it." And so you stay, even if that place no longer gives you life, even if the air becomes heavy, even if a part of you withers, you choose to stay because change feels like a leap into the void. Deepak Chopra teaches that this fear is not a punishment, but a frontier. A limit that appears to remind you that you are standing before the possibility of expanding. The fear of change has a voice that repeats itself in every language. What if it goes wrong? What if I lose the little I have? What if no one comes with me? It is the echo of millions of human generations who survived by clinging to the known. For our biology, change was always a risk. That is why the body feels it as a threat. But what was once a real danger, moving to new territory, facing the unknown, today is often only a symbolic leap. Changing jobs, leaving a relationship, moving house, choosing a different path. The curious thing is that we react in the same way as our ancestors, with fear. Chopra uses a powerful image. Life is a river. The water never stops. It always moves forward. You can stay on the shore watching, resisting entering, but the river will continue to flow. When you try to stay still, the water drags you anyway. And the more you resist, the harder the blow. Fear is like clinging to a rock in the middle of the current. You think you are safe, but in reality, you are hurting your hands while the river is asking you to let go. Behind the fear of change hides a secret longing to grow. Fear is the shadow of your deepest desire. If you are afraid of changing jobs, it is because deep down you long to expand. If you are afraid of leaving a relationship, it is because your soul knows it deserves something different. If you are afraid of moving house, it is because there is a part of you that wishes to discover a new horizon. Fear shows you what you have not yet dared to recognize as desire. Imagine someone who has walked the same street for years to get to work. They know every corner, every sound, every face. One day, the road is blocked. There are works, and they must turn down an unfamiliar street. The heart races. At the corner, they discover a park they had never seen. Further along, a cafe where new conversations begin, and with time, that street becomes part of their life. The initial fear was only the guard of change. The change carried within it a world they could not see from their old habit. The fear of change is not only thought, it is embodied. It is felt in tense muscles, in insomnia, in a tight stomach. It is the body saying, "I am ready to run." But it is not about running away. It is about transforming. Chopra teaches that the body can also be the ally. When you breathe deeply, when you bring attention to the heart, when you release the rigidity, fear begins to give way to a new calm. The change is still uncertain, but it no longer paralyzes. The fear of change dissolves in the instant you take the first step. Not when you think, not when you plan, not when you promise yourself someday. It dissolves in action. Action is the bridge between the prison of fear and the freedom of transformation. It is not about a perfect or certain leap. It is a trembling leap, but an authentic one, and that authenticity turns fear into strength. Chopra speaks of synchronicities, those coincidences that seem like chance, but are actually signs. When you dare to change, life responds with these signs. People who appear just when you needed them, doors that open without you pushing too hard, answers that arrive at the exact moment. But none of this happens while you remain in the same cage. The universe cooperates when you cooperate with change. You can see fear as an enemy or as a teacher. If you see it as an enemy, it will always chain you. If you see it as a teacher, it will show you the exact place where you need to grow. Fear points to the lesson life wants you to take. It is not about defeating it, but about listening and learning from it. After fear, there is always an afterwards, and in that afterwards, there is usually relief. We often look back and ask ourselves, why didn't I do it earlier? Because fear convinced us it was impossible. But by taking the step, we discover that we were stronger than we believed. Fear was big in the mind, but small once crossed. The fear of change chains you because it convinces you that the known is safer than the true. But in reality, the known can be a prison disguised as safety. Chopra reminds us that change is the dance of life, and fear, instead of being a wall, can be the drum that marks the rhythm so you dare to move. The next time you feel fear in the face of change, listen to it. Breathe. Ask it what desire it is hiding. And then, even if you tremble, take a step. Because in that step lies the strength you are looking for.